Hey everybody, Allie Duzett here, and today I'm so excited to introduce a new friend to you. I guess I'll first introduce everybody on my end. This is baby Danielle. She's 7 months old now. Happy birthday, baby. And she just got up from a nap and wanted to be in on the fun. And this is my cat, Charlotte, who likes to lurk in that spot on my couch. So that's very fun. And today our special guest is Alicia Cramer. Do you say it, Alicia?
I do,
Yep.
just like
Perfect.
the singer Alicia Keys. Very easy for everyone to remember when I have that association.
Yes, I love it. I love it. And she actually runs the Mind of Business Success podcast. And so I was so excited to have her on my channel today to talk about the Mind of Business Success. I know I have a lot of viewers that have their own businesses. I have my own business. I'm like extremely passionate about business, and especially about the role that mindset plays in having a successful business. Because I know for myself, as I've healed my own business mindset, my business has been able to take off. And having these key changes in how I think has been a really key to having business success. And so I wanted to invite Alicia here today to talk about that and to kind of have a little conversation about the role of your mindset and self-sabotage, your mindset and what is holding you back from your success or what's driving you forward with your success. So Alicia, do you have any starting thoughts for us on this?
Well, mindset obviously affects every area of our life. And we sometimes, I think, take this stance that mindset just means, changing a few maybe mental habits, giving ourselves positive affirmations, positive self-talk, I can do it attitude, which is true. But I mean, that's really general, right? Mindset is infused in every aspect of our life, the decisions we make, how we think, how we respond, how we react, the things that we will do, the things that will hold ourselves back from, the things that we do and we're successful at versus the things that we do and we're pushing through so much of that mental resistance because of beliefs and expectations and self-image stuff that does not fit what we're trying to accomplish, that we do create self-sabotage, and that is what creates failure. So what we're talking about here is so much more than just like the superficial high level mindset stuff. It really goes deep into the subconscious mind and getting our mind working with us in harmony with what we want to create versus working against us, which many of us are experiencing in all different areas of life and business. It's like somebody who says, hey, I want to lose weight, and they're doing everything imaginable to create self-sabotage. So
A baby toy. Yeah. Is true. As you were saying that, I was thinking of an example that I heard a long time ago about the ant and the elephant. Do you know this? Do you know that?
It sounds vaguely familiar.
The idea is that there's an ant on top of an elephant, and the ant, can decide where it wants to go, and it can kind of like zigzag around and go where it wants to go, but really it's going to go where the elephant is going because it's on top of the elephant. And the ant is like our conscious mind. And our little ant is sitting there like, I'm going to lose weight. I'm going to exercise every day. I'm going to like cut calories. I'm going to do this. I'm going to, do this with my business. I'm going to talk to new people today. I'm going to find new leads. And the ant's running around on top of the back of the elephant. But maybe the ant's going that way and the elephant's going that way. And so even though the ant's going that way so hard, it doesn't matter. It's still going backwards because that's where the elephant is. And the elephant is our subconscious mind. And I loved how you said that our mindset is just about so much more. Like it's not just like, oh, I'm gonna think a new thought today. Like that's good, and like, not to discount the importance of thinking a new thought today, but like it really is something so huge. It's an elephant compared to the little ant that we've got consciously going on.
That's an awesome analogy, and it's incredibly true. We can see it. There are so many people who have this dream of starting a business. And when you look at how many of those people actually do versus how many don't, that's a huge indicator right there. You know, what is going on in your mind? Because your mind is wired to keep you alive, to protect you. So if you have beliefs in your mind from all of this social and societal conditioning and family conditioning, and even maybe past experiences, maybe you took a crack at it and it didn't go so well. And statistically, that's, very, very probable. So now your mind is saying on that deeper level, it's not safe. Don't do that. You're going to fail. You're going to struggle. It's going to be really hard. It's too risky. You could jeopardize your family. You could jeopardize your entire state of well-being. You could fail and make a giant fool of yourself, and everyone's going to see what a big loser you are. People have all these things that it means, right? What does it mean about you to struggle? What does it mean about you to fail? What does it mean, right? Well, if it means in your mind that then I'm not worthy, well, maybe God doesn't actually love me. Maybe I'm not meant to be happy and successful. Maybe this is only as good as it's ever going to be. We've created all of these really dysfunctional beliefs that we have started accumulating early on. I mean, you're holding a beautiful little example of when this all begins. So we're contending with all of that stuff. And it can be very overwhelming when you think about an entire lifetime worth of really disempowering conditioning. The good news is we can shift those things. There is no life sentence. Just because you saw your parents struggling financially doesn't mean you can't clean those things up in your subconscious mind and create new empowering conditioning that supports what you want to create. But it is a process, and it does require being very intentional and very consistent and really committed to yourself, because you're going to bump up against your stuff. And when you do, it can feel sometimes very, very real. Our self-imposed limitations, I always say, they seem so real. They seem so incredibly justifiable. So you have so much evidence to prove, no, really, it is this hard, right? You could have made all sorts of excuses, right? Well, I'm a mom. I've got all these kids. I'm a mom too. There's so many justifiable reasons for why we can't, or we shouldn't, or it won't work. And we really have to start to challenge those things, because they're just beliefs. And I always say, if it's not a law of the universe, then it's just a belief, and beliefs can be changed.
I love that. I love that so much. And I loved what you said about that changing these things. It is possible, but it does require consistency. Right. And I love that. And I feel like, correct me if I am wrong in your opinion, but I feel like changing subconscious programming, or, these beliefs that we have been living our lives by, like the conditioning that you were mentioning, I feel like it can be really simple. Not to say that it's easy necessarily, but just that it's simple.
Yes.
just kind of like how exercising every day is simple. It's not really easy, but like it's simple. All you have to do is like get up and do it. And like
I absolutely agree. In fact, I say we tend to overcomplicate things. We really do. And it has so much more to do with the resistance that we're creating. That's what makes it seem so hard. And that's why we overcomplicate it. So our mind says, well, if it feels this hard, then there must be some kind of really complex thing that, that needs to take place here in order for that to change. Some of the exercises that I do with my clients, I have to remind them over and over and over again, don't discount its simplicity. We kind of do that in our culture. Right. So the more complex something is, the longer somebody goes to medical school, the more, that they're somehow equipped to heal the body. And yet the body heals automatically. if we get out of the way, right? If we stop creating the unhealthy, destructive stuff, then under most circumstances, nature is just going to do its thing. And there is an element of simplicity where it's like, just stop eating the unhealthy food. Right? Now, and that's not to say that there aren't, other issues, right? We're not saying that there aren't some genetic things or that there aren't, certain circumstances that maybe are a little bit more challenging, but we definitely overcomplicate things and we keep ourselves stuck in our limitations by doing that. Because if the mind says, well, I can't figure it out, I'm not smart enough, I don't have enough education, I don't have enough money in the bank, those again become these self-justifiable limitations that keep us from going for what our heart really desires. And I believe very, very strongly that if we have a desire in our heart, then there has to be a way to fulfill that desire. It's based on that law of polarity. You can't have one side of anything without the other side also existing. You don't have a right without a left. You don't have a top without a bottom. You cannot have a problem without a solution. And you cannot have a desire in your heart without a way to fulfill that desire.
I love how you express that in terms of polarity. I've never heard that before, but I love that. And obviously I agree. I mean, like, yes, there are solutions 100%. And geez, I just love how you put that. Oh my gosh. Amazing. Can I ask, how did you get into this mindset work? I mean, I'm sure, like, here's the thing that I know. People don't get into this work without having tried it for themselves and seen a big difference. And so that's really what I want to know. What is the big difference that you experienced that has led you into becoming such a leader for other people who are working to heal their own subconscious programming?
When I was 25, I was out with some girlfriends and I was given a date rape drug. And when I came to, I had been physically and sexually assaulted, and it was extremely traumatic for me. And without getting into the long story, basically that was the catalyst for me to really go on a deep healing journey. And so I worked with a hypnotherapist and an EFT practitioner and a variety of different types of energy workers. I went deep into spirituality and healing and learning a lot of different modalities. And it was profoundly transformational for me. And because it was so significantly transformational for me, I really wanted to help other people. So in 2006, I opened an EFT practice. Then in 2010, I opened a hypnotherapy practice. And that really just evolved into the work that I do. I knew I loved working with business owners. I was an aspiring entrepreneur since I was 18. I struggled so much. I had so much failure because of all of my subconscious programming. And I started to use these tools and principles to help myself work through those things. And I really always just resonated with fellow entrepreneurs. They had that spark, that same spark that I had. And I could see how they too were getting in their own way. And that's where my focus really started to shift. And, I always say, I work with business owners, but I would say maybe 50% of the work that we do together involves business, because everything is so intertwined. Everything is so entangled. It's not just about working on your business mindset. It's about becoming an empowered version of yourself. And that means feeling empowered in all areas of your life. And if you're out of balance in your relationship, if you're out of balance in your body, and that is pulling on you constantly, it is going to adversely affect your business. And it is going to adversely affect creating a life that you really, truly love. So it is so holistic. And I always say, it might seem like we're working on something unrelated to your business, but when we're working on your confidence and empowerment and your relationship, that does affect your business. So it's always gratifying for me to work with my clients on pretty much anything that's coming up for them, because it all contributes to our sense of success and personal fulfillment, which is so much more than just like the superficial thing that a lot of people make it out to be. You know, it's about being in alignment and congruent with yourself.
I love that. Thank you so much for sharing your story. What a huge trauma to experience, and then to come out on the other side and help other people with it too. That's just amazing. And I love how you talked about this in the sense of being holistic, because that is so true. And I feel like in our society right now can be really compartmentalized, and we kind of it's let me think of how to put my thought. I'm just thinking of, I know two different marriage coaches that are also business coaches, because guess what? If your marriage is a mess, your business is going to be a mess. Like, there's so many aspects of your life that you've got to square them away, get your subconscious mind figured out so that you can make everything reconcile and work together, so that you can have this successful business. I say as like my little baby is like yapping away on my lap, but this has been something that I've worked on too. Hey, as far as for my own business, realizing like, hey, part of my business is actually me, and part of me is dealing with all these little people in my life. And so how can I square away my own subconscious hangups around, like, a business owner can't also be a mother, or like it's not okay to have a conversation with a baby there. Doing that kind of work has been really transformational for my own business, because I do have 5 kids. If I allowed myself to be held captive by this traditional assumptions that people have to, you have to have your baby somewhere far away before you can get anything done, then I wouldn't be able to get anything done, and shifting that up though has been really helpful for me, and making sure that I can get things done even with my kids. And I have loved seeing other mothers come to me and say, hey, watching you do this interview with your baby on your lap has given me permission to also have an interview with baby on my lap. I can have a business too, even though I still have kids. And you also have kids.
I do. Yep. I have a 12-year-old and a 3-year-old.
That's so busy. 3-year-olds are like so busy. My 3-year-old is like kicking my trash right now, dude. Does your 3-year-old want like so much attention?
Yes. And she has got a powerful personality. I always say she's going to be a very, very strong woman.
It's like such a good perspective. I'm always like, calm it down, crazy person. Oh man. So you also know the challenges of parenting plus business, but you make it work. And a lot of that
one of the reasons that I was so motivated to do business right was I was 28 and I got pregnant with my son, Eden. And I was managing a cell phone store at the time to supplement my income, because my EFT practice was not bringing in enough revenue to be self-sustainable. So I was managing the cell phone store. I always thought to myself, I never want to have children. I had a very dysfunctional childhood. I was like, I'm not bringing another human being into this horrible, awful world. Well, surprise, right? Apparently we had a different plan. And when I found out that I was pregnant, I just felt this, like, it was a complete transformation in and of itself. And I just knew I wanted to be the best mom that I could be. And I remember sitting in that cell phone store thinking to myself, there is just no way that I'm going to send this baby off to some stranger to watch him and basically raise him while I'm working at this job that I hate, because I can't get my stuff together and be successful as a business person. And I made a commitment in that moment that I had to do it right. And that's when I went back to school. I got my certification as a hypnotherapist. I got my master's degree in metaphysical science. I was simultaneously going to school for psychology, all while managing a cell phone store and pregnant. And right shortly after he was born, I opened my brick and mortar hypnotherapy practice. His dad would take care of him while I was at the office. I would take care of Eden while he was working at his business, and we made it work. It wasn't always easy, but we made it work. And it was because I made that decision that I had to do it so that I was able to be the mom for my new baby. And I think it's so interesting because we do have so much societal stuff that we've got to clean up, and we really do have to challenge that. Why can't you be mom and do an interview? Is it going to irritate some people? Maybe. They're not your people. They're not the people that you're here to serve. Don't watch that interview. It's okay. We have to get over all of these silly things because we have work to do. We have a gift to share. And, you were saying about the relationship and the business coaching, right? And we're talking about how interrelated all of these things are. And if you're really doing what your heart is calling you to do, it's so much bigger than just the product or the service that you're offering. It's your state of being. You are a gift and a contribution to other people. And when you're holding yourself back because of all of these BS excuses that you're making, you're not being the gift and contribution you are meant to be. And you live this life that just never feels truly fulfilling. And you've got to be willing to do that sometimes harder work that is simple, but sometimes hard, to clean up that stuff, because you're not doing anyone any favors by playing small. You're not doing anyone any favors by holding yourself back. Just be who you are. There are people who need you, people who are going to benefit from you. You are a blessing to other people. You are giving permission to others to go for it too. None of us are perfect. We're all just human. And I've always said to my clients, I'm still doing my inner work, right? I didn't achieve some level of enlightenment where now, the gods have bestowed upon me perfection. It's like, we're all doing our stuff. We're all doing our work, and it makes us more relatable. And it does show other people they can do it too. You don't have to be perfect. You don't have to have it all figured out. It just matters that you're saying yes to your true heart's desires, and you're willing to continue to be the best version of yourself and to give as much value as you possibly can. And that's, I think, what business really should be about, is just us all being our gift and our contribution to one another.
Thank you so much for that. That was so beautiful and so inspiring. I got chills at one point. I was just like, yes, because one thing that I really loved about what you just said was that you got pregnant, you realized you wanted to be this great mom, and that you felt that feeling of, I don't want other people to raise my kid. I want to raise my kid. So I have to get my stuff together, right? If my business is not succeeding, it's because I have a problem that I need to fix, and I can fix it. And then you did fix it, and you did it, and you made it work, even though it was hard. It was hard, and yet it was simple, right? You followed the formula and you did the steps, and now here you are rocking it, and geez, I just love that, because I know there are so many of us out there, parents with little children who desperately want to be with our kids and feel like we can't because our businesses haven't taken off the way that we need them to take off to financially provide, right? And so then there is that horrible question, and that feeling of, well, I have to, go to this job that I hate and leave my kids with somebody else to make it work because I don't have my stuff together enough to have my business be successful on my own. And that is such a tragedy. And I just know so many people just like us are still in that space. Like, nobody has to stay in that space. I just love that so much. We don't have to stay there. We can be there. And I think, well, you've been there, I've been there, having to make that decision of, What am I going to do? Am I going to, have this one solution that allows me to stay in my self-sabotage zone, or am I going to get out of my self-sabotage so that I can be financially successful, so that I can, do the most important job that I've really got, which is to take care of my family.
Yeah.
So on that note, I want to ask about your new program. Tell me
The
about
Inner Game Academy.
Yeah. Say it again. Say it again.
Inner Game Academy.
Inner
Inner Game Academy.
Okay, like a game that you play.
Well, and
but also like the game strategy, I'm guessing.
It's kind of like, like the game of life, the game of business, our mental game, our inner game, our outer game, right? So many of us, we take life so seriously, right? But you've got to remember that you can create your life the way you want it to be. That's sort of the game. Like, what does success look like for you? What do you want? Not what other people say success looks like. What do you want your life to be? And it is about the inner game. It is about the mental game, right? So many people talk about all the strategies and tactics to grow your business, but they never get their inner game right. That's that self-sabotage, right? They're still dragging so much resistance along with them as they're doing all the outer stuff. And we've got to work on the mindset. We've got to work on our beliefs. We've got to work on our self-image. We have to create it in the mind first. So a lot of people don't realize that what you've created in your life right now is exactly what you believe and what you expect based on all of that subconscious conditioning. If you're really honest with yourself, and we can really just pull this out of you, right? You are creating a self-fulfilling prophecy based on what your current self-image is, what you believe business to be, what you believe life to be, how you believe it's going to be if you are a mom. If you've got beliefs that I can't be a successful business person because I'm a mom, that's going to become a self-fulfilling prophecy. So that's where the inner game comes in. You've got to start to recreate that new self-image, new beliefs that support what you want to create. Everything is created in the mind first. So if you don't like part of your life or all of your life, you have to start to recreate your beliefs, your expectations, your associations with all of the things that you're wanting to create for yourself. So the Inner Game Academy is basically a big library of mindset reconditioning tools. So I'm a certified hypnotherapist by profession, by trade, but I'm also a mindset coach, a mindset expert. I mentioned I, started out as an EFT practitioner, trained in a lot of different energy modalities. So it's basically a resource where you can go in, you can say, I want to work on my self-confidence. There's EFT for self-confidence, there's hypnosis for self-confidence, there's affirmations for self-confidence, but it goes into all of the businessy side of stuff and a little bit of life stuff too. So fear of success, fear of failure, fear of being seen, those are all things where there are different audios and videos to help people work on those very specific areas where they may be bumping up against some of those old self-sabotaging patterns. So it's designed to be a vast library where whatever you're bumping up against, whatever you want to create, if you want to just work on visualizing and manifestation and goal achievement, there's audios for that. And it's just going to keep growing so that it's just a resource for business people to always have the tools that they need to work on those inner game pieces.
I love that. Thank you for sharing about this. And I'm sure you'll send me the link so I can share it in the comments or in the, the little thingy below when we post this video. So everybody can get hooked up on that if it feels like the right thing for your soul at this time. But I love that you're doing that. I just feel so strongly. I'm going to tell you my secret. My secret is I think everybody could have a successful business. And I kind of think that they should. That's my secret. When I see people that have no business, I mean, not that everybody has to have a business or something, but I feel like my business brings me so much joy because it gives me this outlet to be myself and also be financially compensated for that, so that I get to have more joy, more fun. I can pay for the food on my kitchen table, and like it allows for so much joy, and it blesses me and it blesses the people around me. And I feel like that can be true for literally all human beings. Like if you are a human, then you have something within you that is of value to other people, and you can transform that into financial success, by following these different steps, right? And learning how to harness what is in your soul that is going to be of value to other people, and allowing that value to come back to you.
I love that.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you for doing this, contributing this important value to the world. Look at how you're creating this value to help other people experience their own value. It's just like this beautiful circle of life. It just makes me so happy. That's so good. Well, do you have any final thoughts for all of our watchers today about self-sabotage and the business mindset?
We talked a little bit about, if you have that desire in your heart, if you're feeling called to do more with your life, that's no accident. And it doesn't go away. So many people find ways to numb that discomfort that's created, which is indicating misalignment within yourself. You're not saying yes to what your inner being is calling you to do. And it's because of the beliefs. It's because of the expectations. So I would encourage anyone who is still listening, who's probably resonating with this, and this message is probably for you, is to do an honest assessment of what you believe. What do you expect? And really just start to look at those things, because it's kind of like, I use this analogy a lot, right? If your garbage stinks, just walking past it and pretending that it doesn't change the stink. You have to be willing to acknowledge there's something smelly in the garbage, and I have to take it out. I have to get rid of it. Most people are going through life and they've got all this stinky garbage and it's driving them crazy, and they're not willing to just acknowledge, I've got to take the garbage out. And that kind of comes back to that simplicity piece, but it's the first step, right? So do an honest assessment. Just sit down with yourself, ask yourself, what do I believe? What do I expect? What are all the justifiable reasons that I'm telling myself I can't? And really look at those things honestly and objectively. Some of them you'll be able to release and let go of just simply by acknowledging how absurd they actually are. And some of them you'll need to do some deeper work. And that's where there are tools and there are people like us or others who are doing this work to help people get out of their own way. But that, I think, is a valuable first step.
Thank you so much. I could not agree more. I feel like our biggest challenge in all of existence as human beings is to take what is subconscious and make it conscious. Take what's going on in the back end of our existence and recognize it for what it is. Just like you said, like realize that there's stinky garbage there and actually acknowledge what it is, figure it out so that we can be okay with taking it out. Because I feel like a lot of times one of the hardest parts of changing our subconscious situation is just that we don't really understand it. And how can you take out the trash if you aren't even really sure what exactly it is or how exactly it's showing up in your life? So yay. Well, thank you so much for being here today, Alicia. Everybody, this is Alicia Cramer, and she runs the Mind of Business Success podcast, which is awesome. And you should check it out. And I'll put the link below. And she's launching the Inner Game. I forgot the last word.
Academy.
Thank you. The Inner Game Academy. So I'll link that below as well. And geez, Alicia, thank you so much for being here today. It is such a joy to hang out with you on the internet for an hour. So thank you so much.
Thank you, Allie.